Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm happy to have Christoph Poppen here as a guest today on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. He is a fantastic violinist, also conductor, conducting Cologne Chamber Orchestra, Hong Kong Sinfonietta, and you also have a festival in Marvão together with your wife Juliane Banse, and we've had the pleasure to already perform a few times together. Now, for everyone who doesn't know you yet, maybe you want to introduce yourself with a few words for those people who haven't seen you.
Well, it's not so easy with a few words because I've done many different things. I grew up as a violinist. I was 20 years first violinist of the Cherubini Quartet, touring all around the world. I did this famous More project with the Hilliard Ensemble as a Baroque violinist, and I went to conducting very early. I had various orchestras, Munich Chamber Orchestra, Deutsche Radio Philharmonie, and as you said now at the moment it's Cologne Chamber and Hong Kong Sinfonietta, and also Israel Chamber as principal guest conductor, and I'm conducting a lot as a guest conductor. And the festival which you have mentioned is something very special. It has its 10th anniversary this year. After we discovered, I must say, Marvão about 12 years ago, which is one of the most beautiful places on earth. I think which is in the book of 1,000 places which you have to see before you die, by New York Times. And this is something, it's just a passion. It's not a business, it's a passion. And very happy that you will be coming back to Marvão next year, actually, with the Wohltemperierte Klavier, the second part, and we are all looking very much forward to that. So you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy to come back. Now, I'm very interested because I forgot to say that you're also a professor in Madrid. How is it possible to have so many lives at the same time? I mean, you also have a family of 3 children. You have so many, jobs, different professions. How do you manage that?
Well, the difficulty is to balance everything in your head. And because you mentioned it, I mean, I've been teaching, now I'm professor in Madrid at the Escuela Reina Sofia, but I've been teaching actually when I was 21. I started to teach at university and I never stopped. So I've been teaching many students. I've been very lucky with some very successful students. And of course, this needs a lot of attention, and the same with an orchestra, the same with a festival, same with many other things. Family, of course, is always the center of everything. Well, I think sort of a trick is just to do one thing at a time. So when I'm with my orchestra, I try not to think of any other orchestra and not of the students. And if I am with my students, I don't think of anything else but of the students, and of course. But the problem is that during the day, everything occurs. I mean, there are 10 emails from Hong Kong, 10 emails from Cologne, or even more, and 20 or 30 from Marvão Festival, and also the students are in touch. On the desk, it's the most difficult to control. In the middle of work, I mean, this is our privilege as a musician. If we are on stage, when we are on stage, we have the right and we must concentrate totally in the moment. Totally. I mean, we have to forget about everything else in the world, but only the next bar or next phrase should be in our mind. And of course, this is a great training, I think, mentally, because actually in life, the moment is the only thing we have. The past is the past. In the future, we don't know what happens tomorrow. So of course, we can make plans, but this is all virtual. The only thing which we have is this moment when we are sitting here talking to each other. And therefore, I think we are blessed and privileged as musicians that we can train that all the time. Being on stage and even in rehearsal, we have to concentrate so much in the moment. And that is the same with the different challenges, with the different tasks, with different parts of the profession, that if you do something, concentrate on what you're doing, nothing else.
Yeah, we started from this music. Now we get to this spiritual talk. I enjoy this very moment with you also very much, actually. And I observed that in the rehearsals with you, but also when planning, for example, for the festival, that you're always very straightforward to what is needed. And many other people I've dealt with have the problem that they always think, I have to actually do something else or have to be here or there. But you somehow manage to be present, and then when you need, you also do the plannings. How have you developed with this? Probably it hasn't always been so easy for you to switch, you know, from the overview, okay, now is this, then is this, to being in the moment, present with what you're actually doing right now?
Well, I suppose this is mainly experience. You know, I've been quite many years in the business, and it's certainly also, I mean, it's in a way it's an organizatoric talent which you need, and which you train as well as a conductor. I mean, you have a 2.5 hour rehearsal, including the break, and you have to rehearse a 3-hour opera in this time, or a new symphony, and you need to come to the point. You need to be very decided what is important, and what simply can we not think of. And you know, we haven't talked about my charity activities. I'm always have been trying to somehow also as an artist do some support for charity purposes. I've founded Artists for a Better Future, where artists support charity projects in the world and things like that. So with other words, this is also a blessing in our profession, that what we do is somehow always for other people. If we play on stage, it is for someone. And even if we practice with ourselves, for ourselves, we communicate with the composer. So it's always something in communication. And I think this is part of the training. I mean, being on stage is many levels, because we cannot think too much of the audience, because we have to think of the music, but we feel that we are there for the audience. And this sort of focusing in a certain direction, it doesn't make sense when we talk to each other now that I think of someone else. It wouldn't help, not the other person, not you, not me. Yeah, so the only way is be here in the very moment with everything you're doing. And I think this is simply training, and I'm still learning every day.
Yeah, wonderful. And we've also talked about how much the world has changed in the last years. You have already scratched the surface of this a little bit, but where do you see the role of music nowadays, and what should maybe also young artists consider when they want to develop their life as musicians?
I think for me, I'm absolutely sure that music, classical music, particularly classical music, which we're doing, is more than entertainment. It is a very high-class entertainment, which we need, and which we may enjoy on both sides. But I tend to call it like something like spiritual nutrition. And particularly in a world where many people, for instance, don't have this immediate connection to religion anymore, particularly in Western Europe or Western world, I would say. This is, I think, different in Asia. Their music becomes an importance, a role to lead ourselves to our inner center. And I think this is what we are supposed to help our listeners to do. And this is the great thing, that, I mean, people sit in the concert, and it's not because you are playing or I am playing, but it's because of the music, of the composer, that suddenly the music gets so deep that maybe somebody starts to cry or feels something which they didn't feel without the music. And this leads us as a performer, but I think we can also help this way our audience to lead everyone to ourselves. And that is a very important, I think, role of arts in general. And music, again, has a very special role, because, you know, if you see a beautiful painting, you can still close your eyes. But music, I mean, we cannot, even physically, we cannot close our ears on a natural way. So music always enters our heart, our ear, and then our heart. And music has always an influence on us. Whatever music we listen to, be it in the supermarket or Bach wohltemperiertes Klavier on stage, it changes us when we're listening to it. And therefore, I think we have a great responsibility as an artist to bring something to the audience which we think is important, which help them, lead them into a certain direction which we think is helpful for them.
Yes, beautifully said. I also believe that, and that's also why I encourage everyone also to learn an instrument. I mean, listening is great, but also if you participate and if you actually do it and share with others, I think it's you can experience it on a much deeper level. I mean, I feel that throughout the life, I feel always more like deeper with the music I know, and this develops over many years.
I think when we're talking about the young generation, first of all, it's important to be aware which goal we have as a professional musician in this case. Talking about amateurs, this is something very important also, because what you said, it is great. If you play something yourself, it gets much closer to you than if you just listen or read it in the music. And not to talk about, for instance, the physical aspect. If you really use your fingers for an instrument, it changes your brain all the time. It keeps you young. It is extremely healthy. So I would encourage everyone, for instance, for children, to learn instruments as soon as possible, as much as possible, and really, because all the children would like to stop, because nobody likes to practice when they are 12 or 13 or 14, and try to really constantly continue that. But I mean, coming back to the young professionals, I think, you know, what we are doing here, talking for actually exchange on social media, which is a great thing nowadays, but I think it's also a danger, because you know, what we need as a musician is this going inside, focus inside, and all this social media life, which has great advantages, but I really think also great dangers. It's always sort of seducing us to go outside with all these 100,000 posts every day. Somehow one is always more on the surface than on the real center. And I think I just had a conversation about this an hour ago with someone. I'm a bit worried about the young generation in the whole world, all over the world, that we are not, I mean, it is not only young people, we are all in the same situation, but somehow we are more trained. I mean, when I was young, we didn't have a mobile phone. So we trained for a longer time, this sort of way of concentration. And I think it is very important to develop a strong discipline, also to put all this communication thing away, and just be with ourselves, be also with the book, with the music, with something maybe with just a real human being, not only with a sort of indirect communication through social media, but with a real human being, like talking to you now. I think it is very important to develop a discipline to put the telephone away for some time, or the media away, and be aware. It's, I don't know who of our listeners now did it last time, that for 24 hours you put your mobile phone away, and it's a great challenge actually, and I would recommend to everyone to do that from time to time. It doesn't need to be 24 hours, maybe sometimes a week might be great, but even if it's only 1 hour or 2 hours a day, twice 1 hour, I think it is very helpful to come back to the real center.
Yeah, and also to just being able to focus over a longer period of time, not just the short reels, which are a few seconds. That's also what music can train us to dive deep into some other world for a longer period of time. Last question I have, because you've mentioned your charity projects, I would just be curious how that works and how artists participate in that. Well,
I've been founding and I've been supporting various projects, and there is so much suffering all around the world that, I mean, it's not difficult to find corners of the world where we can help. And help starts with financial support. I admire the people, and I know also some of our colleagues who go to a certain place in Africa or in Israel, in Gaza, and wherever, and really help. Médecins Sans Frontières, the Ärzte ohne Grenzen. I admire them immensely, who really go in person. But I am not able to do that also time-wise, or I decided to use my time for something else. But I can support with my own money. I can stimulate others, and my organization, Artists for a Better Future, came out of the idea that many of us artists like to support something, and it's like a platform actually. Artists can join, and the original idea was once a year somebody just takes the fee of a concert and gives it to us, for Artists for a Better Future, and the artist can decide where it goes, or just leave it to the organization to decide where it is needed. So it's a very simple structure, and it works quite well.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And yeah, maybe people want to find out about you, so you have maybe a website, or where can people find you or your festival?
Everyone has a website. Even I have a website, a very old-fashioned one. I'm waiting for a new version for since long, because I'm not fighting for it. But you can find a lot of. You can find my calendar. Okay. www.christoph-poppen.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for watching. You can also find my concert dates, of course, at aaronpilson.com, or apply for a first free strategy lesson if you want to learn the piano with me. And thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you again in the next video.
Thank you, dear Aaron.
Bye-bye.